Oh, hi, good morning, class. How are you today? I hope all of you are doing well, and I hope that you've been listening to all the directives that have been coming out. 22nd is Janta Curfew, as our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced, and I hope that all of you will take it seriously. And the only way that we can get out of this pandemic is that if we all become united in social isolation. That sounds like a paradox, but it is not. We covered in the last video, the last topic that we covered was cybercrime, right? And we had started cybercrimes and we did about 16 cybercrimes, okay, that are possibly there. Like, so the tools and techniques of cybercrimes. Let's just do a very small recap. We said that there are different techniques of committing cybercrime. You have buffer overflow, you have cracking, you have data diddling, malware, phishing, rootkit, spyware, steganography, Trojan, salami attack, sniffer, social engineering, spoofing, virus, worm, and zombie. Okay, this is what we've done in the last video. Today, we look at types of cyber crimes. I've already told you that the IT Act under Section 66 deals with cyber crimes, along with the penal provisions for committing any of the acts which are defined under Section 43 of IT Act 2008, and especially if the acts were done with fraudulent or dishonest intentions. All right. So when I'm looking at cybercrime, I'm essentially looking at either the crimes that are targeting computer systems or crimes in which computer systems have been used as instruments of committing the crime. So in crimes which are targeting the computer systems, you have hacking. Okay, hacking is essentially gaining unauthorized entry into somebody's computer or his network without his express or implied permission. And there are a lot of sophisticated applications, trojans and malwares and worms and viruses, and it's all used to be capturing obviously critical data that the victim is not willingly ready to share with you. The second kind of crime, which is a very interesting one and something that is done, you'll see a lot of instances of that happening where we say that a website has crashed because of a lot of traffic to it. So the second type of crime is the denial of service attack. Here, you essentially the server denies or there is a disruption and it causes loss to the intended users of that particular service or website. The loss of the service is the inability of the particular network service to be available, or the temporary loss of all network connectivity and services. It can force the websites to cease operations because they are unable to handle the heavy traffic, and ICMP flooding, teardrop attacks, peer-to-peer attacks and flooding. Okay, so you start with a small attack and it gradually becomes huge. So you're essentially flooding the bandwidth of the targeted system, and that leads to denial of service. Spreading of viruses and malware covered under Section 66 of IT Amendment Act, Section 66F. If it is done against the country or for cyber terrorism, it can be generic or it is targeted at computer systems. You are injecting and spreading malicious code in the forms of viruses, worms, trojans, spyware, adware, rootkits. They are installed secretly and they are essentially ruining the network for good. You have website defacement under 66 section 66 of IT Amendment Act or section 66F IT Amendment Act. So it's again applicable if it is done against the country or to strike terror people. So you have the national bank of a country, and then one morning when the users access that website, so उस पे किसी टेररिस्ट ग्रुप का लोगो और सिंबल आता है, हम आ गए हैं, हम पहुंच गए हैं, and their entire content is displayed on it rather than what the bank homepage should have looked like. So that's a case of website defacement, and it changes the visual appearance of the website. You may find very hostile, indecent, threatening messages, obscene videos, threatening videos, and other things that are making that website completely dysfunctional and very violating. And it's very common for people to be fighting it out in the cyber world using website defacement. Cyber terrorism, again covered under 66F. Satellite phones, encrypted messages, and other ways of spreading terrorist propaganda is all available on the internet today. And people who are not on the good side of the society, or statistically on the bad side of the society, violent people are also using it for large scale disruption of computer networks. And the digital evidence in these kind of cases is present in computer systems and computer resources. And you would be interested in capturing the email IDs, photographs, videos, the kind of communication technology they use, and the encrypted messages. You have spoofing. So attacker masquerades the data packets, IP addresses, MAC addresses, email addresses, to, as if they are actually originating from a original source or somebody else's address, but they are not. Spoofing is covered under section 66A and D of IT Act 2008. Then you have skimming. My God, there are so many cases of skimming where a skimmer has been put into a ATM machine, right? And a hapless victim, he accesses the machine, loses all his record because the person who used the skimmer has essentially captured that code. When you're inserting your card, you're not inserting. You believe that you're putting it inside the ATM machine, but you're actually fitting it inside the that skimmer that he has fit into that socket of your machine, ATM machine. So it's covered under section 66C, and it's a card fraud in which there is a handheld skimmer which is used to capture the information contained. It's a very portable device, and the data is transferred into a computer system, and then you are able to generate fake credit cards and fake other debit cards through it. Then you have farming, okay, not that खेती wala farming, it is PHARMING farming, covered under section 66C and section 66D of IT Amendment Act. Here the person is essentially fooled into entering sensitive data such as PIN numbers and credit card numbers and passwords into a fake website, okay, which is impersonating as a genuine website. It is different from phishing because this sounds so much like phishing, right? Because the attacker need not rely on any of the URL or link, but it is redirecting of the website traffic from a legitimate website to a fake one. That is, from a genuine website you've been directed to a fake one. So that is called as farming. You're essentially sowing the seeds of crime from a land that was supposed to be fertile. That's how I see it. Spamming is unsolicited junk mail, or sending messages by anyone for the purpose of annoyance and inconvenience. So just to take a quick recap, the crimes which target computer systems include hacking, denial of service attacks, spreading viruses, malware, website defacement, cyber terrorism, spoofing, skimming, farming and spamming. छोटा सा क्वेश्चन, वेबसाइट डिफेसमेंट किस सेक्शन में आता है? हमने अभी बात किया था, तो डू लेट मी नो इन द कमेंट सेक्शन दैट वेबसाइट डिफेसमेंट कम्स अंडर विच सेक्शन and spoofing comes under which section. Okay, so that's your question from this particular section that I've covered. Second, that I wanted to cover with you in cyber crimes are the crimes in which computer systems are used as tools and instruments. One of the things that I wanted to tell you very specifically is that cyber crimes are not exclusively covered under the IT Amendment Act. There are a lot of other Indian laws which can be invoked. For example, in certain cases, you may have to invoke the IPC, you may have to bring in the IPR laws. So you look at multiple sections, okay, when you are looking at or debating the penal provisions of a cybercrime. So you have financial fraud, okay, the crimes which are in which computer systems are used as tools and or tools or instruments. The first one that you see there is your financial fraud, which is covered under IPC, IT Amendment Act, and number of other relevant laws. You have business frauds and investment frauds and mass marketing frauds and job overseas frauds. You get a Nigerian poor old woman whose husband has died suddenly and she wants to give you all the money that she has ever had and all the money that you'll never see in your lifetime. So she's agreeing to enter into a business arrangement with you because she finds you a very honest, beautiful person, and that is for what unsuspecting people fall for. They'll get lured in that trap and they are attracted by such opportunities and they're like, oh my god, lucky me, she chose me to be her inheritance partner. I must be special, right? Second that you have is data modification, which is covered under section 66 and section 403, 406, 409 of IPC as applicable in this crime. The criminal gains entry into the targeted system like the financial system and he modifies or changes the data which is contained. All right. The third one is identity theft. So section 66C and 66D of IT Act, theft of sensitive identity information such as his date of birth, the name, the PAN, passport number for fraudulent purposes, phishing, farming, uses of key logging, social engineering, etc. is used for collecting the data. Then you have something that is really grave and serious today, and that is the idea of stalking and cyberbullying. If you see anybody being bullied in the cyber form or in real life, please, please, please don't let somebody get bullied by other people. And if you know the bully, let him know that what he is doing is very despicable and he must not do it. Okay, bullying has very long term impacts on the emotional and mental well-being of a person. You are essentially sowing the seeds of self-doubt in an individual. He believes that he's being bullied because he's weak on certain point and you're reminding him of that weakness again and again. So you're essentially breaking away the confidence of another individual. So if you find somebody being bullied or somebody bullying the other person, you need to intervene. Stand in front of the person who's being bullied, tell them that it's not okay and everything is fine. Protect the person who's being bullied, and if you can speak to the bully yourself, tell him that what he or she is doing is incorrect. Okay, you have to intervene, do that. Okay, because I'll tell you, it happens to you all the time. You're surrounded by people who are bullies, all right, or being bullied. So any case, you go in and step in. So stalking or cyberbullying is covered under multiple sections. IPC के 500, 504, 506, 507, 508, 509. कितने सारे 500, right? So 500, 504, 506, 507, 508, 509 of IPC are applicable. Also section 66A of IT Amendment Act is applicable. Here there is use of information and communication technology to harass, threaten, intimidate someone. Cyberbullying can act, lot of acts such as making threats, sending provocative insults, racial slurs, ethnic slurs, gay bashing, attempting to infect the victim's computer with virus or flooding him with obscene messages, unwanted messages, spam. Okay, so all of that is there. The next one, and that is pornography, which is again a huge problem. Okay, it's a huge problem, and please understand that pornography, including child pornography, can attract penal wrath on you. But it's not just a case of penal wrath. for all the things that you can do in your life, watching pornography is not going to be the best of it. So, just staying off it is better. So, under Section 67 and 67A and 67B of IT Act, Section 1292 of IPC, posting, publishing, transmitting obscene messages, photographs, videos, text through email and web based services, through chatting or any other form over the internet, and to indulge in pedophiliac content and child pornography. Like I said, there are a lot of things that will get involved. So I don't want to go into all of them. We are focusing on cyber crimes, but you have POXO and all that, and you have to be worried and vigilant about it. And again, it's not the healthiest of things to be watching. So, no. Theft of trade secrets and intellectual property. So, it's covered under Section 66 of IT Amendment Act 2008, 70 of IT Amendment Act 2008, the IPR laws, and any other law that is essentially brought in can be brought in. And it is essentially the theft of knowledge based assets, capital, trade design, logos, ideas, innovation, material that is copyrighted by an individual or an organization. So मैं फैज की कोई पोयम सुना दूं, कहूँ ये तो मैंने लिखी थी, तो that's what I'm doing, right? I'm just stealing it. It can also include audio, video, movies, software, source code. So there are a lot of things which are included in the purview of what is theft of knowledge-based assets. Then you have what is known as espionage on protected systems, covered under Section 66 and 70 of IT Amendment Act and other applicable laws. Spying and espionage on government systems is often done by intelligence officials of the enemy or neighboring nations. It also involves the access of sensitive and classified documents. इसी से रिलेटेड होता है कॉर्पोरेट एस्पियोनाज, वेयर competitors in very competitive industries do spy on each other, find out things that their competitor will not easily reveal into the market. Okay, so that's espionage. All right. So crimes in which computer systems are used as tools and instruments, it includes financial fraud, data modification, identity theft and its misuse, cyberbullying or stalking, pornography, theft of trade secrets and intellectual property, and espionage on protected systems. Now, my question to you is that under what sections of different laws is the crime of pornography included? Okay, so I want your answer in the comment section below. Please let me know. I've already spoken about it in my video, so I'll be happy if I actually see a response to my question. I wanted to ask you one more thing. How many law students does it take to change a light bulb? I wanted your answer. You can answer me in the comment section, okay? Or you can wait for my next video where I will let you know how many law students are needed for changing a light bulb. We are going to look at forensic data analysis and audit, okay? And because we've covered the idea of cyber crimes, now we can talk about forensic data analysis and audit. And essentially it's called digital forensics or computer forensics, and it's a specialized branch of forensic science where we are related to or looking at legal evidence in computers and digital storage mediums. Okay, and see, understand one thing that this is very interesting, and computer forensics has 5 stages. Okay, you'll find very detailed notes about each of them, but essentially is the 5 stages are policy and procedure development. Second is evidence assessment. Third is evidence acquisition. Fourth is evidence examination and documentation and reporting. So the first thing that you need to do is that you have to understand the value of the information and respect the fact that whatever you're going to be collecting, okay, forensic data, that is digital forensics, if that data is not handled properly, it can be compromised. Its key information may get modified. All right. So the first thing that you do is to prepare a list of detailed instructions, and these instructions are then handed over to forensic investigators. That is your policy and procedure development. Second is for effective processing of the evidence, it is absolutely crystal clear necessary that you must first understand the case at hand and what kind of cybercrime it was. All right. So if it is a case of financial fraud, okay, that somebody has taken money out of somebody else's account in an unauthorized way. So what kind of a crime is it? Okay, what were those areas where the breach happened? What was the account number? From where was this account accessed? What what means was used to steal that key data? All right. So if you have to essentially, for example, identify if somebody has committed identity theft, you have to find out ways by which you can sift through the hard drives and email accounts and social networking sites and digital archives to retrieve and assess any information that can actually serve as legally presentable evidence that this person committed it. It was a planned act. Okay, so that is evidence assessment. So before you go into evidence acquisition, please understand that very extensive documentation is needed prior to, during, and after the acquisition. Okay, you must have detailed information about what you're doing, how that evidence assessment was done, how will it be recorded and preserved. Sometimes the only evidence you have is photographs of the screen, so you have to maintain those photographs, you have to label them, sequence them. All right, so how will you be copying things without changing original key values? You have to include all hardware and software specifications, any systems which have been used in the investigation process, and what systems are under investigation. All right. The underlying idea will always be to preserve the integrity of the data that is being collected for evidence. Then, for effectively investigating your potential evidence, you retrieve, copy, store evidence in appropriate databases, you number them, you tag the data which is tagged with timestamps and dates is very important to investigators, and your suspicious files and programs have been encrypted or intentionally hidden. That is extremely important. What kind of file names have been used, when were they created, what was the sequence, how long, how for how like for a data that has been, let's say a file that was uploaded, how many times it has been downloaded, what have been the sources of hits on that website. So all of that goes under evidence examination, and the last stage is the documenting and reporting. So here you need to know that not only fully documenting information related to hardware and software specs, these forensic investigators, that is the cyber forensic investigators, also keep a record of all the activity related to the investigation, including all the methods used for testing system functionality and retrieving, copying and storing data, and all the actions that are taken to acquire, examine and assess evidence. मतलब ऐसा समझो कि फॉरेंसिक साइंस की एक स्पेशलाइज फील्ड जो है दैट इज फॉरेंसिक डेटा एनालिसिस, लेकिन जैसे फॉरेंसिक साइंस के अपने दे आर वेरी स्ट्रिंजेंट ऑन द काइंड ऑफ स्टेप्स दैट दे फॉलो, बिल्कुल वैसे ही साइबर फॉरेंसिक्स के भी बहुत फिक्स्ड नियम हैं। और कंप्यूटर डेटा के साथ ये प्रॉब्लम है कि कई बार जब आप उसको कॉपी करते हैं या फाइल को ओपन करते हैं, सो ऐसा कई बार हो जाता है कि you change the key value or you change some identifier in that particular file, so you have to handle it very properly. और 5 steps होते हैं: policy and procedure development, evidence assessment, evidence acquisition, examination and documentation and reporting. पॉलिसी एंड प्रोसीजर डेवलपमेंट इसीलिए इम्पॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि एनीबडी हु हैंडल्स दिस इन्वेस्टिगेशन शुड हैव अ क्लियर सीक्वेंस ऑफ व्हाट इज टू बी डन. सो अ लिस्ट ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शंस इज देयर. व्हाट काइंड ऑफ एविडेंस इज नीडेड. तो आपके क्राइम के हिसाब से आप एविडेंस असेसमेंट करते हैं कि दीज आर ऑल दी टच पॉइंट्स दैट आई नीड टू बी कवरिंग. Evidence acquisition is actually taking or touching or retrieving data, but with due care that you're not touching the specs of the original thing. Evidence examination is going through everything that has happened or transpired which has led to the crime, and then proper labeling, tagging, reporting, documentation, sequencing, maintaining the integrity of everything, and combining it into a form by which a legal person can take care of, can use that information for fighting a legal case or proving something in the court of law. So that is the idea of documentation and reporting. So I hope you understood this, because अभी इसके बाद हम लोग साइबर फॉरेंसिक्स पे ही थोड़ा और बात करने वाले हैं. Or we'll be looking at what are the what are the branches of cyber forensics, and what cyber forensics can reveal. So we'll be looking at it, like not in today's video. Okay. And you do know my question. I wanted to find out, I wanted you to tell me how many law students it takes for changing a light bulb. And I hope that you do tell me that tell me the answer to this question, and I'll be very excited to hear from you in the comment section or any other way. All right.